Our two main use cases are helping new customers improve their end users onboarding. So improving their activation, getting them to experience, their app's most important features as quickly as possible using guided tours, checklists, tooltips throughout the product. So our customers can add those to their app with no code. They can customize and segment messages for different types of users. They can personalize the content with their end users' names, make it more personable and customizable. And then ultimately you can measure the performance of those experiences and if it's actually driving the impact you'd expect from faster onboarding, more successful onboarding, higher trial conversion rates, PLG metrics like that. Started on the product team. I've been here about 2.5 years. Currently, I'm focusing on integrations and analytics within the product. I think disjointed would be the operative word for the way we were working before. Just the feedback was coming in second or third hand. So it was, our sales and support teams doing their best, not changing the spirit of the ask, but we were playing telephone. So inevitably we would have to go back, trace it back to its source, ask the customer what they meant all over again, which was just had to have been a frustrating experience from the customer's point of view. It was hard to find patterns. We ended up getting feedback that was, it was the same ask at the end of the day, but said 5 different ways. And it just took a lot of effort from our team every month, going back over new things, classifying them, figuring out, is this the same thing? Let's combine it. Let's not combine it. We had customers saying, what are your other customers saying? Are they saying things like this? How are they saying it? Are we being too annoying here? Are we overwhelming you? Like, I would love that there was this ask reading between the lines of, I would actually like to see what your other customers are asking for too, and perhaps even talk to them and learn from them. So there was this thought amongst ourselves that we'd love to experiment with something more like forum style feedback. And we wasted a little bit of time figuring out if we were going to build something like that ourselves. And ultimately we started realizing that there were a lot of tools that already were doing this for us. We implemented the submit a feature request. It's just on our main navigation. So just like it can catch anything. But then later on, we also implemented the same form, but in different places with the topic pre-filled. So for example, we have a prompt on our integrations list page where if someone is interested in integration, it's not there and they want to submit a request to add that, button's right there. Again, opens up the same submission form, but the topic equals analytics. So just making it a little easier on the customers so they don't have to fill in as much stuff, and it makes it more likely it's going to hit the right place on our board so we see it. If we're going to make a move on an item, it's really nice to be able to switch the status, have that, I think there's an option to say like email voters about this change or this comment. So we use that a lot. And then when it's actual time to get early beta testers or work on announcements, I'm immediately going into Canny, finding the item, exporting the voters, and that just makes it really easy for me to plug into whether I'm sending a bulk email or if I'm just sort of brute forcing sending individual messages to customers. That cuts a lot of time out by not having to go back through all my notes, check, Salesforce notes and things, simply just to try to get a list of people who would want to hear about this. We use the Salesforce integration pretty heavily. That's pretty recent. I think after about a year of using it, I think the CX team started realizing the value and actually started requesting that we do a little work on the integration. So we actually kind of work it both ways. So we'll sort of enrich the profile in Canny with Salesforce info, probably MRR being the best example. So for the first however many months we were using Canny, we would sort everything just by number of votes. That was the simplest way to do it. Started realizing, we kind of need to weight some customers more than others. So we added in MRR, which now allows us to sort the board by sort of total revenue on the line, if you will. And then in the other direction, we send out vote counts, we send customer comments on Canny items directly into the account object in Salesforce. I wasn't thinking about the merge feature. Like, I don't think that's something we really even realize we should be thinking about as like one of our big pain points going in. But like, that was awesome once we started realizing how much easier that made things. Again, cutting down on the, is this the same thing? Is this not the same thing? This is going to be so much trouble. Like joining all our notes, just boom, merge button. Like we use that a lot. It's just a good way for us to do our review of the board. From the customer's point of view, I think it's just like, it's easy to forget sometimes how bad the feedback cycle can be for some products. Like just the react, like somebody submits feedback and like I said, we immediately respond. A lot of the times that the response from the customer is, wait, somebody actually got this? Like somebody's listening? Like, oh, wow. Sorry, I was kind of expecting this to fall into a black hole and never hear from you again. I just think it's easy to forget how like the average SaaS product can still kind of be like this some days, believe it or not. And it's like, it's noticeable. Like we'll end up seeing that down the road if we get NPS feedback or CSAT feedback from some of our customers. We will literally see in the responses like, I feel like I'm heard. And that can make all the difference. Like aside from us actually responding to their feedback and catering our roadmap to them, simply that can make a huge difference in the renewal decision for a lot of these customers. Like it will be brought up on the renewal call several times that one of the reasons I'm sticking with you is I feel like you're listening to me. We will keep track and keep an eye on the number of top 20 requests, either by number of votes or amount of MRR that are in progress at any given point in time. That's just that's the easiest thing to check on in Canny. Filter by status equals in progress and sort by the top. And that's just that's our temperature check of, despite maybe some of our loftier strategy and our loftier roadmap at the end of the day, how much are we covering the general patterns of the most frequently asked items? So yeah, like once a quarter, if we're doing like a team review, we're working on our next quarter's OKR planning or something like that, that is something we will put up there to, again, a temperature check of, are we focusing on the customer enough? I felt that the volume of feedback post-Canny versus pre-Canny is through the roof. And I gotta attribute that to the repeat customers who in the past, they probably would have lobbed in one piece of feedback, never heard back from us again, and then never bothered ever again for their second and third thought. We have power Canny users, if you will. Like we have people who, they have dozens, and not because they're pestering us and not because we're not listening to them, it's because we're listening to them, that they feel like it's worth their time to, anytime something is on their mind, it's very easy, it's very low friction to communicate that to us.